right, guys and ladies, welcome back. We are going to continue on with the Van Gogh Starry Night artwork. And this is the painting that we're talking about. This is Vincent Van Gogh's Starry Night. And in the last video, we started working on the stars and the moon. And so I have finished that up as much as I plan to for this one. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring some of those same lines into our artwork, but we're going to switch colors. We're going to, add the blue, the different blue shades, and some white maybe. And if you want to, add wind to yours as you're doing the lines, you can bring it around however you want to do that in your own artwork. So if you are working with oil pastels, depending on the size of the set you have, yours may come with, 2 different blues or 3 or 4. This one happens to have 4 in it, and I will probably use 3 of those 4 and then some white. The other really interesting tip about oil pastels is if the end of your oil pastel gets dirty, just take a dry paper towel of some kind. Nothing too soft. You need something kind of rough for this. And you can actually just wipe off your oil pastel, and then it's nice and clean and ready to use again. And it's not got other colors like contaminated on it. So there you go. Just a little extra tip to help you out with. So I am going to go ahead and pull those blue colors out. The one I don't think I'll use is the lightest blue, just because, this is a nighttime scene, so I'm going to want darker colors. Now, I say that, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I will use some of the light blue. I don't know. We'll just see. That's a little early for me to be making that prediction anyway. So it really just depends on the direction that the artwork goes in. So I'm going to lay those out to the side. And these 2 on the end are actually, they're 2 different blues. One is like a really dark, kind of ultramarine blue, and the other one is almost navy. So I know probably on camera they look kind of the same, or they look like black, but they're actually just really, really dark blue. And I just want you to kind of see those there. So there is that. So to get this started, I have to decide, do I want any wind? Don't I want any wind? And just to help you guys out at home, I think I will add some wind just so you can kind of see how that happens. So I'm going to start with this blue that's kind of in the middle, the medium blue. And I've kind of filled in my space. A lot of wind might be a challenge. So I think I'll just kind of come up through here. Maybe, and then maybe kind of dip up and go kind of around that way. So to get started on that, I just need to kind of show that line direction, that this is where I want this one to go. So, and I'm just going to come around. I think I'm just going to, yeah, there we go. So now I'm just going to start filling in those lines. And if you find you're resting your hand on your artwork like I am, you can get a paper towel, and that'll help keep it from getting all over you, and it'll help keep it from smearing. So I'm just going to use the paper towel to rest my hand on there. Now, if you're using crayons for this, you might want to go a little slower than I am, because you're going to have to really give it a good push to get a nice dark color. going on that. And I think I'm actually going to bring this down here. I'm just going to let it kind of fork off right through there. So now I'm just trying to fill, I'm trying to fill in the space without coloring it in. And I'm even going to let some of this blue go on up into my stars. And you can see where I've got the blue, it like hit right across that yellow there. I may end up with a few little green spots myself. And we talked about that in the last video about how, some of his stars ended up with a little bit of green to them in the moon there. And that's okay. Maybe I'm just going to let this one finish out right here. So, I've got my wind going. The direction of those lines. And then I can just switch colors. I think I'll go with this one. And I'm just going to start to really kind of fill that in. And I may start taking some of this over and around. Bringing it up into that star a little bit, those twinkly spots. I am at school. That might be a sound some of you are missing though, so there you go. Never thought you'd miss the school bell. Most of us never thought we'd be doing half of what we're doing, so. Anyway, so you can kind of start to see how it will, the way that he used line in his work really kind of like directs your eye in a certain direction. So, and then maybe I just want to bring this one out and around, and then this one's going to overlap a little bit with that, and this one's going to overlap a little bit with that. And I'm just going to keep growing these stars just like I did with the yellow. So I'm just going to keep going around and around. Oh, I just stuck a big, yep, just did it. Smudged it, but that's okay. Just means I'm going to have to add some more blue. So, it'll be okay. Anybody asks, you just say you did it on purpose. I'm going to spin this around so I can work on this little guy right down here. Bring some of that blue up into that star a little bit. That one's a little smaller, so. Oil pastels are actually oil paint in stick form. So if I have older folks watching this, or parents, if you're watching with your kids and you're working along with me, there are certain materials that we use when we are maybe, redoing furniture, or you're stripping furniture down. There's a product out there that I don't really want to say that you use to clean brushes in and to get those oil-based paints out of your brushes. You can actually use that particular medium to make oil pastels just kind of melt and blend together. So if you were working on like a piece of masonite board that's been primed, or a canvas, and you're drawing with oil pastels, you can use that particular medium to kind of thin these down and make them more like actual paint. So, not to say that they're not paint, because they are. I'm glad I added the light blue. That's looking better. That's like, yeah, I like that. So, just a little side note. I don't really want to call that out because I don't want kids rummaging in the garage looking for that thing that I, mentioned in a video. So, but it is pretty neat. So, if you wanted to supervise your children doing that, that would be, they would probably think that was really cool. A little science with your art that day. Solids to liquids. So you're just going to keep working and kind of layering those blues, because the more we do, the more it starts okay, the more it starts to kind of build up layers, and it starts to make it look a little more, I don't want to say three-dimensional, but I don't know, more like it's got some life to it. And I'm not just coloring this in because I want those white spaces in between the oil pastels. That way, when I finish filling it in with lines, I can go over this surface with a wash of watercolors, or if you're working with food coloring, you can do that. You could even make like a bath with food coloring if you needed to. If you have like a casserole dish or something, run a little bit of water in that, stir in some blue food coloring, and you could actually just take your artwork, if the paper's thick enough, and just dip it in there and then pull it back out, and that will fill in all of those white spaces for you, and create, kind of like the last blue that you need to fill in all of the white, kind of like what his is. So you could even pull in a little bit of purple if you wanted to, like a violet color. I've done a little bit of that in the past, because sometimes, this guy, depending on the time of day you're talking about, there's a little bit of purple in there. As the sun starts to go down, I wouldn't use too much of it, but you could add some here and there to kind of add another layer of color to that. So I think I will stop there because this video is starting to run on a little bit. And I'm going to finish filling in the background space on this one. And in the next video, we'll talk about how to just quickly paint over that. And then we'll talk about how we can add some of these other layers to our artwork, because right now, remember, we're still just working on the sky. We haven't talked about any mountains or hills or, houses or cypress trees or anything like that. So right now we're just working on our background. We're working on that sky. So you guys keep working on it. I can't wait to see your work. And stay well, stay safe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.